right, welcome everyone. My name is Hannah Lakin. I am here representing the ACRES project, which is a coaching project focused on reflecting on practice for out-of-school time educators. And today's session is going to be really interactive. We're going to do breakout rooms. We're going to talk to one another and get to know each other. So if you don't have the capacity for that today, I know attending virtual conferences can be challenging when you're trying to multitask. So if you don't have the capacity for that today, not to say that this session isn't for you, but you may want to join another session if you can't interact with other people, and I totally understand that. Feel free, if you feel comfortable, to turn your video on. We're going to really be present for one another and talk about our practice and think about engineering and other STEM facilitation skills in our session today. And Kim, thank you for moderating the chat. If anyone has any ideas or questions during our session today, you can feel free to unmute yourself and just shout them out, or you can put them in the chat and we'll have a great conversation together. So I will share my slides. So today's session, we're really thinking about our STEM facilitation skills and how to go beyond just activities and think about how we're facilitating. By way of introduction, like I said, my name is Hannah Lakin. I am a STEM education specialist and coach for the ACRES project, which is a project funded through the National Science Foundation. And my organization is called the Maine Math and Science Alliance. I am located in Portland, Maine, and my organization is in Augusta, Maine. And I hear there's a lot of states represented here today, so I'm excited to get to know that. You can feel free to put in the chat where you're from if you want to get to know who's in the room. This is a photo of me. I started my career before this as an out-of-school time educator in summer camps and after school. And this is me on my last day of my first teaching job. And I was at that time a middle school math and science teacher. I'm also a coach, and this is, unfortunately, I'm on the front cover of the ACRES website. Don't get me wrong, I am not really the face of ACRES, but I somehow was chosen to be on the front page of ACRES. And so you can learn more about that, and we'll talk a little bit more about opportunities for that at the end. I'm also a new-ish mom. I have an 11-month-old, and this is my partner. And it's very snowy here in Maine right now. And what I've loved actually is kind of merging my love for engineering and science thinking as I watch my 11-month-old. This is him a couple of days ago figuring out how to vacuum, and which is a wonderful opportunity for some housework. He does have it backwards, but he apparently watched me with the vacuuming motion, and he's got that down. So this teacher right here, this was over a decade ago at this point, was really focused on planning activities. All my in an in-school setting and out of school time, my focus was really on what are we going to do today? What are my students going to learn? What are my youth going to learn? But really what I planned were activities. And that's not necessarily the wrong place to start. But what I've learned over time is that there's a lot more ingredients to facilitating STEM learning, including things like, where am I going to have opportunities to elevate youth voice and choice? Or how am I going to connect youth with their community and careers through an activity? And in a way, nurture their STEM identity through that. What questions am I going to plan? What am I going to have in my back pocket when I want to guide students toward a goal? And what understandings are students coming with, and how can I leverage those to build on their understanding, and how can I check that throughout an activity or a lesson? So I told you it was going to be interactive. So if you could just grab an object in your space somewhere. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. All right, everyone have an object? My object is a tape dispenser. I also put it on my slides because I knew you'd probably not be able to see it with my background. In a moment, we will, you can share in the chat, you can, and I'll have a few people share out loud what their object is. But your question to think about and to share is, how could you improve or change the function of that object? How could you improve or change the function of that object? I'm going to share my answer. The tape on my dispenser is particularly hard to rip off. I don't know what brand it is, but it doesn't work very well. So I was thinking that maybe to improve this for this specific type of tape, I kind of would like a little blade that I could push across here so that I could cut the tape instead of ripping it on the little sharp edge. All right, I'd love for a brave person to share out, and I'll stop sharing.
I'll share out if that's okay. I cannot have my camera on. I share an office and we're in a health department, and she has medical records up, so I can't do that. But I have a calculator, and with multitasking, I would love for it to be hands-free, that I just say add 5 + 5, and it gives me the answer.
I love it. And was your name Kim? I think I saw.
Yes. Yeah. It's last name's rural. So yes.
Thanks.
I have one.
Thanks, Ben.
I got a $1 from the dollar store device. I don't know if you can see it, it's blurred. Anyway, it's to hold my phone when I'm working at my desk. And a few weeks ago, I could not find my phone anywhere. And I think it was due to this device because the suction cups on it aren't particularly sticky. So after a little bit, my phone weighs it down, slides off my desk, and then it's somewhere in the ether, I guess, that I couldn't find. So I think you could add a little device on the bottom, like a little ledge where you put the phone on there and it sticks, but also something to keep it from falling off and to decrease the stress that the suction cups are under, which is what makes it fall off. So that's my 2 cents.
Thanks. Is it Brashandra? I'm sorry if I butchered.
No, you actually got it. Thank you.
Oh.
So I have a like mommy hook, and it's always at the bottom of the bag. So if it could add like a keychain to it, so it'll be more accessible. You can just put a lot of bags on it and have it in one. So it's like a little hook you hold to put all your on-the-go solutions.
I love it. Okay, let's do 2 more. Oh, Sheila, you got something?
I have my Pomodoro timer. I use the Pomodoro method of planning and working, but it always falls backwards because there's a little card that goes on top of it when I'm working. So I would probably try to create something to make it more stable. So when the card is on, it doesn't go backwards. And then I can use the timer for other things too. Like when I'm speaking or different, not a lot I could do with it differently, but the main thing would be to make it more stable.
Wonderful.
Sheila, I just looked up what the Pomodoro timer is.
Okay.
And I like it. I have a little desktop vacuum. So you put it on the desktop and it like goes around and like vacuums. But whenever it falls, because my cat pushes it off the table, the thing just falls apart and all the dust that collected falls apart. So I think I'd like it to be a little more secure in the middle here so that when it falls, it doesn't let everything out.
I have never heard of a desktop vacuum, but I think I need that.
Katie, you need to put that in the chat so we can all go buy one.
Yeah.
Where's a present?
And Kim, did you have something you wanted to?
No, that's okay. I was just going to tell Katie, I think I have some Amazon shopping to do.
Right. All right. And this one can go in the chat. I was talking about facilitating STEM and engineering conversations, and one way to just have a conversation about this stuff, maybe it's not necessarily a full-fledged activity, but it's when youth are transitioning from one thing to the next or having snack in the afternoon. There's a whole bank of would you rather math questions, and then there's also would you rather science and engineering questions out there. So choose one of these questions and then share what you would rather do in the chat. The first one is, would you rather grow a garden or a forest? And then maybe share a few words of why. And would you rather have a $10 bill for every year you've been alive, or a stack of quarters as tall as you? I'm going to give you a few minutes because this one might take a little bit more thinking than. Nicole, I do not have a green thumb either. All right, you could, I can imagine you asking a question like this with youth or adult learners, whoever you're working with, and actually like going further with it. How would you figure out which is more money, the $10 bills or the quarters, or what age would you want that to switch, right? Like if you're 10 years old, you might want the quarters, but maybe you're shorter because you're 10 years old. So where would the line be where you would start making more money? So there's a lot of ways you can just kind of ask this and just get preferences, or you can really dig deeper and think about some of the STEM practices. So this is all to say, one of the things that we focus on in Acres coaching is voice and choice, and giving opportunities to really elevate youth voice and choice, anywhere from just giving them the choice of materials to having them plan projects within the community and work through them together. So, and a metaphor that one of my co-coaches likes to use is this one. Are our learning activities creating cooks that love recipes and follow recipes exactly and can't stray away from that recipe? Or are we creating chefs where there's opportunities to be creative and understand the science behind the cooking, so that you can understand how the flavors are going to work together and how the different temperatures will react in your cooking, etc. So think about that in your own practice. Are you giving opportunities for recipes and cooks? Or are you helping to nurture the chef in youth? So here's an opportunity for breakout room discussions. We're gonna do a little bit of a card sort. So in your breakout rooms, which we're gonna have about 3 or 4 people in each breakout room, and you'll have about 7 minutes to talk and to do this card sort. I'm going to give you a link to a Jamboard, and if you've never used Jamboard before, it's kind of like a virtual whiteboard where you can move things around. This one, you're just going to be moving things around. You don't have to write anything. You'll come in here, and whatever group you're in, you'll find out like which breakout room you're in. Maybe you're in group 3. You'll go to that slide so that you have one specific for your group. And then think about the ideas at the bottom here for things you might be able to do with youth. And if you are a director or a supervisor, what you could do or what you could support your staff in doing with youth. And sort them into 3 categories. Things youth currently could not do in your STEM programming for whatever reason. Maybe there's not enough funding, or maybe there isn't the technology available or something. Things youth might be able to do in your STEM program if you had more strategies to be able to do it. And then things youth can definitely do in your STEM programming, and they probably already are. So let me share this link with you. I think I shared it to the second slide, so you'll have to navigate from there. They're all the same. And I don't, Jason, are you able to make the breakout rooms?
Yep, I'm ready when you are.
I am, unless anyone has any questions of what to do. As you're in your breakout rooms, feel free to talk about it. You're probably not going to come to consensus because you don't work in the same program, but you can talk about how each one would fall in your setting. All right.
Okay. I'm going to open
Thanks,
them right
Jason.
now.
Yep. I want to give this time to you to share anything. Perhaps there's something that came up as a challenge or something that you couldn't do in your program, and you'd love to hear from other people of how they're doing it. Is there anyone that wants to share something that came out in breakout rooms? This is my wait time if anyone wants to, but no pressure. I understand.
I will share. We never got the screen up. We never got to do it, but we did get to meet each other, but we never got it accomplished. So maybe we need to learn how to use a computer or the board.
Did you learn anything from the people in your group?
That we cooperated to try to figure out how to do it.
Okay.
We did some cooperation here.
I'll just share my screen so that you can see. Well, then I'll move on. So in ACRES, after school coaching for reflective educators in STEM, one of the primary activities that we do in this professional learning and coaching is we reflect on our practice and we practice a specific skill. For instance, those planning of purposeful questions and asking purposeful questions, or elevating youth voice and choice, or facilitating engineering practices or science practices. We talk about them, and then we go back to our settings and record ourselves doing it. So it's a pretty vulnerable experience, but the educators who have taken part over the last 7 years that we've been doing it have really called it life-changing and an opportunity to really reflect on practice in a way that you can't just do when you're just talking about it. So a lot of it is around video recordings and sharing feedback with one another, the strengths and opportunities that we see based on a specific skill. So we're going to do a very abbreviated version today of just by looking at a video together and just paying attention to what we notice about the role of the educator and the role of the youth. This is an activity that it'll mostly speak for itself, but they're trying to create specific shapes out of a continuous loop of string. And so as you're watching this video, you can feel free to just add to the chat what you notice about the role of the educator and the role of the youth.
I think it's working. Oh yeah, I see it happening. Oh, hold this piece. We'll get this straight. Wait, what's your name? Where is that? Where is that? This line is square. This has to be good. Hold this piece. You hold these 2 corners. I'll hold these 2. I love it. I love it. Like keyboard. You have it? Yeah. How would you make? So let's just make another thing like. Yeah, 2 circles. Okay, wait. Okay, so now we need to talk. Yeah. And you talk in the middle. There. And then what if we just bring, it's gonna be hard, we need a lot of room. Yeah. Make it make the circles bigger and the area smaller. And then we bring like this over here. So this. Then this room to rest. No, we just gotta keep the circles fixed. Yeah. Keep it in like a, it's not, or maybe it'll be an open, maybe this side. No, right, this side is circle, and this side to be the circle. These 2 sides, this is the like part.
Did I really not share the sound the whole time? Oh, no. Okay.
I could hear it.
Oh, you could?
Mhm.
Oh, good. There were some people maybe that were chatting me. I'm sorry if you didn't. But you may have noticed just by watching that some of the things that are coming up in the chat, that youth are cooperating and the facilitator really is observing and poked her head in a few times, but really gave the agency and the autonomy to the youth to figure out. So Jason, we have time to do another breakout room. So I'm wondering if you would be able to set those up in a moment. Same groups, if they're still set up, so that people can continue getting to know each other. And this time, there's an opportunity here to talk about this new metaphor. This one is a lifeguard versus a swim instructor. How does this metaphor help you think about your role in your program or your role as a supervisor or director, whatever it is? Are you teaching youth to swim or are you saving them? Are you working as a lifeguard or safety, metaphorically, safety instructor? Or maybe some of you actually are some instructor, I don't know. But really asking yourself who is doing the work. So I'm going to give you a few minutes in breakout rooms to talk about this. And if you stray in conversation and talk about your programs and any challenges that are going on in your programs, that's totally fine too. But here's an opportunity to reflect on your practice and get to know each other a little bit more. All right. First, I'd love to just open it up to any questions that anyone had or anything else that anyone wanted to bring up. And I'm going to share a little bit about the Acres opportunity, and then we'll probably be done a little bit early. All right. So as I was saying, Acres is a professional development project funded through the National Science Foundation, which makes it free to anyone who wants to participate. And currently we're structured that we have a bunch of open cohorts that anyone can join. And then we also have some hubs that are located around the country. We have a hub going on in Illinois after school. We have one in New York and North Carolina and Missouri right now. But we are also continuing to grow with coaches around the country. And also we have a bunch of cohorts that are available to anybody. I'm sorry, this got overlapped, but I will read it. So Acres is free, like I said. We tend to have pretty small cohorts of people, so around like 4 to 10 people. So it's an intimate group of people who can come together and get to know each other over 3 sessions, and discuss their practice, troubleshoot challenges, talk about a specific STEM facilitation skill, like asking purposeful questions, and then practice it and talk about practice and getting feedback on their practice. If you are interested or you want to share this with people that you work with, you can register our website at acrescoaching.org. Like I said, I am unwillingly really the person on the front of the page. And you can go to join a cohort and get all set up there. If you are interested in becoming a coach for the Acres Project, and there are stipends available to do that, you can just click become a coach, or you can email. This goes directly to myself and others. It's covered, but it's acres@mmsa.org. There is one cohort that I wanted to point out that's coming right up. That is an evening cohort for Eastern time and a little bit earlier for the others, of course. And the first session is on April 17th, if you want to join that one. Educators who join Acres start with, pretty much everyone will start with asking purposeful questions. It's a bit of a prerequisite because it's threaded throughout the rest of the skills. And so once you've done that, you kind of can do really any of the other skills, and I can show you what that looks like on our website.
Hannah, can I do a brief commercial?
Oh yeah, thanks, Sheila.
Ohio will be launching its first cohort in April. So if you want more information, please give me an email.
Yay. And Sheila, it might even be up here.
No, I haven't put it in yet.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, that's next. That's next on my list after this event.
Okay. What's the
So,
start date for that one?
Oh crap! I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You have Sheila's emails. You can email her.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat or shout out. Otherwise, Kim has some announcements. So go ahead, Kim.
Hi. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Hannah. That was great. I love the video as well as the Jamboard. So it's great. You're getting lots of accolades in the chat, so that's good. Lots of happiness for Acres. Does anyone have any questions before we kind of, finish up here? Okay, well, don't forget to visit the exhibit hall, Acres, and as well as all of the state networks and many other exhibits are there for you to sign up, get some information, and learn more about the organizations. I'm also putting in the chat right.
Kim, I think you put yourself on mute.
Sorry. Just a link to a session evaluation. So if you could just take a few minutes and kind of fill that out, it would really help us get some feedback on how you thought things went. So thank you all for coming to the session, and our next sessions will be at 11, 12, and 1. All right. So take a break, stretch your legs, and we'll see you all soon.